Okay. Hey, folks, good evening, and welcome to the October 18th stated meeting of your Board of Commissioners. And I want to welcome everyone who's here and who is tuned in remotely. That being said, we lead off our meetings with an invocation. Tonight, that will be led by Minister Mike McNamara of the Draper Christian Church. If you'll make your way to the podium, I'll ask folks to stand if you're available. Following that, we'll remain standing, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Ms. Tony Reese, a longtime member of our Board of Elections. So please stand if you're available.
Let's pray together. Our Father and our God in heaven, we truly thank you for this day of life that you have given us. Father, in your infinite wisdom, you have called upon us to pray for kings and all those who are in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. Father, I pray for this assembly tonight. I pray for the agenda that's discussed, and I pray, Father, for the decisions that are made, that they will bring glory and honor to you, and they will benefit this community that these present represent. I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. Reese.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have before us an agenda that's been published about a week, and with that, we've hopefully had the opportunity to look that over. Are there any changes to the agenda tonight? That being said, nothing heard. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, very good. We have a approved agenda. With that, the next item is a consent agenda. Items on our consent agenda are non-controversial items. However, if anyone has any questions about those items, please contact Lance Metzler, our county manager. Gentlemen, are there any items that the members want to remove from our consent agenda? Nothing heard. All in favor? Well, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Travis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. Motion carries. With that, we have public comment, and we do have one person who has signed up to speak tonight, and I'll ask our manager to read the guidelines. Pay close attention to that, if you would.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Chair. The public comment period shall be for the purpose of allowing members of the public to present any matter pertaining to county business or items on the Board of Commissioners' agenda. Remarks shall be addressed directly to the Board of Commissioners, not to staff, the audience, or media. The chairperson will open up the public comment period. Any speaker who wishes to speak shall approach the podium and not speak from his or her seat. Each speaker shall clearly state his or her name and physical address when he or she approaches the podium. Any citizen desiring to present any matter concerning the services, policies, and affairs of Rockingham County shall be allotted 3 minutes. Citizens will be allowed to yield their time on a specific topic by utilizing one more attendee's time. This will allow no more than 6 minutes. Your time will, this is a little different tonight. Your time will be displayed on the monitor in front of you. So in the past, it was, the buzzer over there, and now it's, we've kind of got a little fancy. It's on your screen now. It should be on the screen right there. And I guess up here, Derek, on their screen?
Yeah, it's going to be on that screen up there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on our screen in there too.
The time clock will start with 3 minutes unless yielded time to 6 minutes. You will hear a beep at 1 minute to alert you to wrap up your comments. If you are to yield your time or time is yielded to you, then please let the chairman know in advance. Speakers appearing for the Board of Commissioners will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, or use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person or which, when directed at a public official, is not related to his or her official duties. The Board of Commissioners may accept written comments in lieu of oral statements. Written statements can be delivered to the county manager's office. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. We appreciate that. We only have one name signed up. That's Ashley Brown. If you'll make your way to come to the podium, give us your name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Ashley Brown. My address is 1017 Georgia Ave, Apartment 4, Eden, North Carolina, 27288.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, go ahead.
Okay, I'm here to address the illegal kidnapping of my 5 children. June 22nd, 2021, an officer came and took my children illegally. He basically, made up an excuse as to why he took my children.
Hang on one second. Stop the timer, Derek. Yeah, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate you coming in and speaking tonight. However, details of a case of this nature is confidential, cannot be disclosed. So if you can please refrain, you can speak, but not on any details in regards to this case.
Okay, I'm just basically here to enlighten everybody into what is going on. It's kind of hard for me to speak now because of me not being able to discuss the details of what's going on. I'm not sure if I'm able to say, but my children are being abused. Am I able to say that? No?
Nothing in regards to any pending case.
So I think that's all I have to say because it's hard for me to explain what's going on without the details of the case. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Brown, for being here tonight. And I know it's tough in a situation where you can't give specifics, but with legal proceedings taking place, we just can't allow you to divulge that. Thank you for being here, though. All right, there are no other folks signed up to speak tonight on public comment. With that brings us to public hearing, item number 7. We'll be hearing case number 2121-21. Mr. Marziano?
Actually went out there and looked at this property today.
Evening. This is for the, like as you said, case 2021-21 for 500 Piney Fork Church Road in the Wentworth Township. It's a rezoning from residential protected RP to residential agricultural conditional district. There we go.
Clarification,
Yes, sir.
Marziano. Back up one slide. This says Leakesville Township. I think you said Wentworth.
I'm sorry.
Which is it?
Yeah, it should be Leakesville.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was reading, we didn't get to change the sheet in the packet. As you can see, the property is currently zoned RP. It is surrounded by other residential protected properties, but also residential agricultural properties in the area. It's kind of a mix of both. Here's an aerial, but it's a little bit blurry. I apologize for that. Our land use plan does have this categorized in the G1 district, which does recommend that properties stay in the residential agricultural for low density residential development. And at the planning board meeting, they did vote 7-0 in favor of presenting this as a recommended approval as consistent with the land use plan. We've made this, or staff suggested this be conditional as the applicant desired not to impact the remaining properties that are residential protected in the area with adverse uses. So if you'll look in your packets, is a little bit more detailed than this, but there's several uses marked out that would be allowed in residential agricultural, but most of those uses are the more commercial nature uses. So that's why this is a conditional rezoning instead of a straight rezoning, is to lessen the impact on the existing neighborhood properties.
So do you have these that are marked out on a slide for the public to see?
No, we didn't prepare that one today. I apologize. We were asked to get this up here a little bit earlier than we're used to.
But just for the public, I mean, a lot of the normal uses have been marked out with this conditional use.
Yes, sir. They're all the special uses have been knocked out. Anything that involves a commercial nature has been removed. It's basically down to your more residential neighborhood style uses.
Very good, thank you. Gentlemen, does anybody have any questions? With that, we would entertain a motion.
Open public hearing, right?
Yeah, we do, I'm sorry. All right, we'll open public hearing now that he's presented, and there is no one signed up to speak tonight on this issue. So with that being said, is anyone wanting to speak on this matter? With that, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you, Commissioner Travis.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Very good, thank you. Is
I'll
there
make a motion
second?
to approve case 2021-21 with analysis and statements.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. With that being said, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Takes us to item B, UDO amendment. Mr. Marziano?
Thank you. We've been working on this, actually prior to my arrival, staff was working on this. This is a request to amend subsection 62.74, recreational vehicle during new home construction as a use. The thought was that the current regulations, which are provided in the packet, and the new regulations that are being proposed, we didn't do a strikeout copy since there was so much to change. That's why you just got both versions. But the idea was to improve how sanitation was handled, more readily define the intent and the use, and kind of hone in on availability of proof that the house was intended to be constructed. Several departments worked on this. We did add in a penalty as well for any illegal dumping of wastewater. We did, like I said, clarified for the sanitation methods of it can be stored in the RV and pumped out. It can be stored in the RV and they could drive off and pump it out, or it can be connected to a septic system or sewer system that's approved in the area. The planning board did ask to remove subsection H and allow it to be used in the case of manufactured home placement due to largely what's happened in the pandemic and even the availability of mobile homes and other modular homes and how long they're taking. They felt that this would be a good situation for that. And we also added in regulations for anytime there's substantial damage to a property to be able to use during reconstruction or major renovation due to 50% loss of the building.
Very good, thank you. And it looks like it's got a 30-day after the CO.
It should be 60 days.
Look at item G. It says RV must be disconnected from electrical service within 30 days after primary home project is permitted for occupation.
That's the current.
So that's not the new one. That's
Yeah, the next page over, the longer version would be the newer version. And under item J, it would, the use of the RV for temporary shelter must cease within 60 days of receiving a certificate of occupancy.
Very good, thank you, thank you. That's good.
And also to clarify, at the beginning, we gave a 90-day instead of the 180, 6 months. But this is with the intent of they can supply their information and start their process, and then they should have those permits within 90 days. But we'd like to get it to the point where they're applying for this RV permit. At the same time, they drop off plans to get their building permit. They don't have to obtain the building permit, but at least give every indication that they are trying to build a house.
Sir. With that, we'll open public hearing for the RV temporary stay during home construction permit. Yeah, you can take that. So the public hearing is open, and we do not have anyone who has signed up to speak for that. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to speak for it or against it? Nothing heard. We'll close the public hearing. And Commissioners, are there any questions? Anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Very good. We have a motion. Thank you, Commissioner Berger. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Richardson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Mr. Margiano. With that, we have a presentation on the Rockingham County Digital Inclusion Plan by Ms. Dawn Sharaba of the Reidsville Area Foundation. Thank you for being here tonight. Also, she has another person who will be speaking with her. If you could give them the handheld mic, that way he can stand up as well.
They're going to come up.
Okay, all right, that'll be fine.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners, for allowing us to present today. Over the past year, 27 individuals across 17 agencies within our county partnered to develop strategies and recommendations to reduce and eliminate technology barriers, and we're excited to share those with you. I'd like to ask any member here to stand and be recognized. This was a commitment. I saw a few folks in the back, so. Awesome. Thank you. I want to stress that this is not a plan of one entity or agency. Reidsville Area Foundation does not own this plan. It is a group that was very intentional in our strategies through a series of 7 meetings and online voting opportunities to develop strategies we think will position us well for economic competitiveness. So today you will hear just a quick overview of those. I did place the full plan with goals, strategies within each focus area for you all to look at. I do want to introduce Jamie Herring from the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. They received a grant from Band NC to facilitate plans in our county, as well as Alamance and Forsyth. So I will turn it over.
Thank you. As Dawn said, my name is Jamie Herring. I'm the Recovery and Resiliency Coordinator for the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. I'm also a resident here in Rockingham County. The creation of the digital inclusion plan, the creation of the digital inclusion plan for Rockingham County really had one main overall purpose, and that was to inform decision makers like you with feedback from your community about what they believe is the most important when it comes to expanding broadband access to everyone. The purpose wasn't to come and ask anybody for money in particular, but in the planning process, we knew that that individual cities and towns and the counties would be getting funds from the American Rescue Plan, from any infrastructure bill that might pass. And so really this was a plan intended to provide a framework for you when you begin making those decisions about allocating any funds toward the effort. The Piedmont Triad Regional Council was fortunate that when we received the Band NC grant from the Institute for Emerging Issues, several entities here in the county had already begun elevating digital inclusion as a priority. The Reidsville Area Foundation, Cone Health, NC 100, Rockingham County Government, and the Madison-Mayodan Parks and Recreation Department all came together with PTRC to lead the plan and its development efforts. The result was a broad-based community effort to reach consensus on what a digital inclusion plan should include. The group decided on a common mission, vision, and values that would guide the group and the continuing effort to bring digital inclusion to the community. The larger group divided into subgroups to consider 3 areas. Availability, which concentrated on the lack of broadband infrastructure in certain parts of the county. Access, which focused on things that keep people from tapping into the digital world even when a broadband is available. And then adoption, which focused on education and skills building resources in the community. And each group identified priorities, created goals, and developed strategies to meet those goals. So the first one is the availability group, and Derek Southern is going to come up and talk a little bit about what that group set as priorities.
Good morning, gentlemen, or good evening.
Good evening.
As part of the plan, I was on the availability group because of the studies that the county's been doing for the last several years about the needs and where the needs are in the county. And a part of it was education for the group, and then also educating the public as part of this plan, that it's not a simple task. This is a survey that we started some 3 years ago, and it shows that there's needs throughout the county, not in one particular area. We can prove there's needs in every far reach of the county. When you look at the broadband maps that come from the federal government, this map here shows where the need for broadband is. Now, if you look, there's not a lot of highlighted area on that map. Basically, this is a complete census block that no one has access to broadband internet. So that means no one in that particular area has access to high-speed internet by the definition of the government of 25 meg. When we start looking at our surveys and we start overlaying maps, we see that the data in our county on the grassroots level of our feedback that we've received from citizens is it's a much larger area than what our maps from the government comes down to us that we can receive funding. And as we step further and start looking into this, the tan areas, which are on that southern corner, is where the fiber internet is. I know it doesn't show up that well on this map, but it's a very small area of the county. There is cable internet throughout parts of the west and through the central and in the cities of the Reidsville and Eden area, but it still leaves a lot of areas out. So the main gist of what we were finding in ours is when we look back at this is what the citizens have told us. There's a greater need than what the maps that are available. So one of the driving factors of this is we need better maps from the vendors, and then we need regulation to make sure that that data gets down so we can make better decisions, because we can technically prove that the maps that we have access to today are inaccurate, and we have a greater need in this county than what is out there. And I will pass my next on to Dawn.
Right, so I was part of the access group, and one of the things that, sorry, oh, and I broke my mask. So, one of the things that we know is even if we equip every part of this community with availability, we still have access issues and affordability issues. And so our group took time thinking through access strategy. So how do we make sure people are aware of resources that are available to them for free or reduced cost internet? And also looking at how do we increase and boost our Wi-Fi strategy. So I'm not going to go through all 8 of those, but I do want to say our main goals were expanding free broadband access with the goal of within the next 10 years having an access point for free Wi-Fi within 10 miles of each household. So if you think, y'all upgraded your technology since I did this last, and I don't know what to do. All right, so if we look at this, we currently have 43 public access Wi-Fi points. Rockingham Community College added 7 more, so we actually have more than that. And then really thinking through the areas that have no access at all, what can we do as partners to put Wi-Fi hotspots in those places? We also need to partner and think together as a community and community agencies and government of how we can get information out about our emergency broadband assistance. There's federal money available for people to be able to access internet and devices at a low cost, but people aren't accessing it. So how can we work together and partner to get information out to everyone? And more than 20% of households in some census tracts are upwards of 35% do not have a device in their home. So they don't have a smartphone, they don't have a computer, they have no way of connecting with the outside world from their home. So our group focused on those strategies. And you will see, and I think the map shows that every zone is different. Some have more struggles with no internet, and some have more struggles with devices. So each targeted area will have to have a different strategy within our community. Now I'm going to turn it over to Stokes Ann Hunt, who was part of our group. She is with Cone Health System. She's somewhere. Is she up
Stokes Ann,
there?
are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, good
So-
evening.
Thank you, Dawn. And I can't see the screen, so I'm assuming you guys are on the slide showing our mobile food market. So the slide on the left shows a partnership that Cone Health had with our Care Connect program in Lot 2540. And we had several different mobile food markets, and that was in Madison, Wentworth, Monroe, Reidsville, throughout Rockingham County. And we did an assessment of those clients. That was our at-risk population that usually show up at our mobile food markets. So we did an assessment of those clients, and we had more than 35% of those that had absolutely no access to home internet service. And then on the right side of that slide, These are telehealth visits that Cone Health has had. So in 2019, we had 0. So as you know, the pandemic has uncovered a lot of things in healthcare, one of them being that we need more access to telehealth. So in 2020, we did over 9,000 telehealth visits, and in 2021, for the 10 months of data that we have here, is 10,485. So with that, that is our physicians contacting patients in their home, on their mobile device, wherever they were for that virtual visit. So I do have one example that's from Dr. Ashley Gottschalk, who is with Western Rockingham Family Medicine. So we talked with our physicians and said, what is it that that you're having problems with or barriers with accessibility? So here's just an example that she had a special needs patient who was cared for by the elderly mother and clearly had little access to technology, to none, as far as home internet. She ended up, her practice is in Madison. She ended up driving out to the patient's home, which she says was very rural, on her lunch break because the patient was totally unable to get out of bed and clearly needed to be evaluated. So her doing this to visit this patient in the home avoided an unnecessary EMS ambulance ride. Patient got the care they needed. And unfortunately, we can't do that for all of our patients. But if we had telehealth and could assess the patient through computer means, she would not have had to do that, and our patients could be accessed more readily with our provider network of our physicians. So I help with provider recruitment for Cone Health. When we have candidates come in to interview for positions in Rockingham County, one of the things they ask, how many telehealth visits do you do, and what kind of telehealth and broadband is available throughout Rockingham County? So that's a question we get on almost 100% of our visits from our candidates. So this, again, is availability and access. You know how rural Rockingham County is. So I am just giving a little bit of information of what our physicians and what our patients go through without having broadband access. So thank you, Dawn.
All right. So one of the things I do want to hit on, I want to go back to the 43 access point slides. We do know that people are using these, and thank you. It's just habit, I get it. So the last week of September, over 20,000 unique devices were logged in or hopped onto the school system free Wi-Fi server. So people sitting in the parking lot, using internet, downloading school work, whatever they needed to do. So we know these hotspots are being used, and just imagine if we could expand them to where people didn't have to drive as far to access those. So our group is followed by the adoption group, and I'll turn it over to Merrill Holloway for our last bit of the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the commissioners. Yes, I'll be brief. So my name is Merrill Holloway. I'm the executive director of NCA 100. We're based in Rockingham County. I'm a Rockingham County native. I do live in Raleigh, but our team is mostly based here in Reedsville. In Reedsville and Eden. So in adoption, I don't have to go through it too much, but you'll get to see in the plan that the adoption basically is figuring out, who are the existing resources that are teaching people digital literacy, who are the folks that are already kind of have that community currency and addressing those gaps. Our group got a chance to kind of think about the whole county in total. It's a big county. There are a lot of places where folks are already doing some really good work and helping folks, but there needs to be more work done to figure out who are those folks that have that community currency. We really do believe that the strength of this adoption plan is in asset-based views, so like building onto the strength. So it really is encouraging that we have been leaning on our strong network of influencers, folks with technical know-how, and all these institutions in the public and community sector. Another headline I'd like to mention is that over time, the last 20 years, access to internet has changed. So 20 years ago, less than half the people in this room were using the internet for work, for play, for health resources, as Stokes Ann talked about, like the importance of having providers be able to do telehealth. We didn't have that many people doing that 20 years ago, but the national statistics will show that we've got about 95% of folks that are using the internet every day. And that's most of the people in this room. So that's another reason to lift up why adoption is crucial. Another thing that I would like to lift up as you guys are reading through the plan and other questions, and by the way, NC 100 is trying to do some work as well with some digital literacy, learning from Alamance County, learning from people statewide. But the last thing I just want to mention and make sure to kind of take away as another headline is keeping our talent here in Rockingham County. And I know I've had a conversation with you, Commissioner Richardson, about disengaged youth. And I think one of the things that I have seen on a regional and national level, corporations have figured out you can still do work from your home. I mean, my daughter works for Under Armour from her room, So I'm thinking a little bit about, me being a Rockingham County native. 30 years ago, I was a senior at Reedsville Senior High, left, and it took me about 20 years to get back here to kind of be able to contribute in a real way. And I would love to be able to say the work that we're doing now is building a foundation for more of our young people to stay engaged. And for some of the folks who aren't engaged in the workforce now to find places to be sustainable and be healthy. So, thank you.
All right, so we know we have to invest in internet and broadband to remain competitive. And so we are here as a resource for all of you. You have our plan, you have our recommendations and strategies. Please review it. Come back to us if you have any thoughts. If you want to dig deeper into a specific area, we are available for those conversations. So unless you have questions, we're done.
Thank you very much. We appreciate this, and thank you to your partners who are here tonight and those others who aren't here for your involvement. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 9, Mr. Ronnie Tate.
Good evening, gentlemen. I've got 2 items tonight for your consideration. And the first one is for board approval of the revised DARPA agreement for contract services for Phase 1 at Blues Lake Park. If you remember, at the August 16th meeting, the board approved an agreement submitted by DARPA for their contract services at Blues Lake Park, and the missing component from that agreement was the maintenance for the park. And so the agreement you have before you tonight addresses the maintenance with the county handling that part of the agreement. We are looking at maintaining the common areas and looking to partner possibly with the college to maintain the trails. We still need to work out that type of agreement with the college, though. But that is the only change that from the one that you approved at the August 16th meeting was the maintenance got included in this one. And I'll be glad to try to answer any questions you have.
Gentlemen, do we have any questions?
I got a question.
Mr. Travis?
I'm kind of confused, Ronnie. This has been going on for a while now. I thought we was already in a partnership with the college for this trail. Has something changed?
I don't know that something's changed, but so far the college has talked about building the trails as part of their classroom. Now, there's always been a question about maintenance and who handles the maintenance of the trails. And so that's when we've got to go back and work with them and see if we can come to an agreement with the college to hopefully both groups participate in the maintenance of the trails.
Okay.
And we're talking about, for our part right now, to maintain the common areas, which would be the parking lot, the bathrooms, just the entry area, those locations for now.
Thank you.
Very good. Gentlemen, any other questions?
I've got some if he's finished.
Yes, Commissioner Berger.
Ronnie, the in the past, it seems that we've been given a presentation and then some things, maybe it's additional information, maybe it's changed, I don't know. But as these things trickle in, it's hard for us to put a real figure on what we're committing, because I guess my concern is 3 months from now, are we going to have something else? You know, who's going to take care of some other aspect of it? And I don't know that I've seen an updated or been provided with an updated plan of what's going to be out there. What is the county looking to take care of beyond the maintenance, beyond, what was it, a bathroom, beyond, I mean, it keeps growing, and maybe it's not growing, maybe it's just there's not a plan. I don't know, but I'd like to see us be provided with what's an overall plan of who's to take care of what. I know when I first came on the board, some of this was, I guess, in discussion. And I seem to remember that the college was taking care of a lot of things. And so I don't know if that's the case now, but I know we don't have a total picture of what the plans are.
I'll try to answer what I can. So for us, for what we're providing right now, that we've been in discussions with DARPA and the college with, is for the county to provide an expanded parking lot, bathrooms of some type, a night light at the parking lot, temporary electrical power out there for use for construction, and trash cans. And so that is what I think the county has committed to providing. I think DARPA had said they would commit to constructing a half-mile trail and work on a rock garden that's in place out there to where people can go and sit and listen to nature and things like that. So those right now are the plans. I've been asked as part of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board to have them bring back a list of prioritized items for you to consider for future development there. Things that we would look to do or like to have in the future prioritized. And we hope to have that back to you. It'll probably be first of the year before we get it, when we get that board to meet and get those items back and have that back to the board for your consideration for that, for future items.
Excuse me, Mr. Tate, let me interject if I can. I think to Commissioner Berger's point, they came to us in August with an agreement on this, a partial agreement. You just responded that you would answer what you could. You said, this is what you know right now, and there are priorities coming to us in the future. You said there's an agreement to be made with RCC at some point following this. And I think that kind of leads into the questions that this board has, is we still don't have a complete picture of the situation. Commissioner Berger?
That's very true, because then you follow it up with bringing something else back in a couple of months. And I guess instead of us the faucet just dripping to us, we'd rather you turn it on and bring us what the plan is.
All right.
I mean, that's just my take on it.
Just tonight was for consideration of the execution, because we already had discussed the DARPA agreement with them, and basically DARPA's wanting to know, okay, this is what we are agreeing to do if you guys agree to do it. And so I think they're wanting some clear direction from us. I understand exactly what you're saying, and you will be provided a plan. If you'll maybe remember, there was a plan that was done. It was we got part of funds to do a plan. I think it was 2016, 2017, and it was a $4 million plan, which was unrealistic. It talked about canopy trails and all that stuff that we're just not going to do. I wouldn't recommend those. But they do have a variety of different things in there. I think what Ronnie was talking about bringing you back is there's a list of that 4 million. You can cut a lot of that stuff out. I mean, it's just some of the stuff we just can't do. But I think tonight for your consideration would just be the DARPA portion to get them started with their project, and then after that we can proceed.
Okay, because I believe that Part F grant, there were some things in there about RCC.
It was. And that's where we need to have further discussion with them. We just wanted to kind of get DARPA started on this project for their commitment. Because my concern is if we don't have some sort of movement in that, then Duke's going to want the property returned back to them.
Let me interject if I may. All right, the question is on our agenda tonight, the second sentence says funds would need to be budgeted based upon options chosen for amenities at the park. Are we approving funds tonight?
All I'm asking for is you guys to approve the agreement tonight. That will get the ball rolling with DARPA.
You gave us the funds at a later time. Yeah, Commissioner Travis?
You've already considered at the last meeting to fund the parking lot, expand the parking lot, the lighting out there, the bathrooms, and the trash receptacles.
Yeah, but is this additional funds that we're looking at tonight?
These would be the same ones.
A number at the previous meeting before.
Hang on, I've recognized Commissioner Travis. Let's let him speak.
What's the number? I still don't know the number.
You have a budget in your packet that I supplied, and
27,000?
There's two options, depending on how you want to do the restrooms. And these can be obviously scaled back if the number is higher than the board would like to have. But based on the information I had and a starting point, you have a first-year cost of either $73,230 or $93,320, and then the funding each year after. So.
Oh, man.
And that's why I'd ask that you all just consider the DARPA agreement first, and then we'll bring back the whole scale plan to you guys for funding later.
Whew. That's a high number, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so if I understand, we're looking at just an agreement in principle tonight, but this will not obligate us to future funds, other than the funds we already agreed to in August.
Except for the yearly funds you saying we're obligated to.
If the board approves moving forward with the common areas, the parking lot, the bathrooms, you will.
But that would be a separate thing. That's not this agreement tonight.
It's just to approve the DARPA agreement.
We just don't have a clear understanding of what we're being asked to approve tonight, because you see there's so many things that are still pending.
Yeah.
And, we've approved some money that we've obligated back in August. We're not talking about changing those numbers. We're not talking about updating those numbers. So that's set. But we're just talking about.
That's all I'm seeking is you guys approve. My main goal is to get DARPA to proceed with what they have requested or that said they were going to do.
I'll get you next. All right, Commissioner Powell.
So I'm looking at this contract here, and it says, I'm looking at the page that says DARPA will manage the project, including, and it has a list of stuff. Is that the contract we're talking about that's going to have to be signed in order to get them to start their portion of this?
Yes, yes, sir, that is correct.
So underneath there, it says Rockingham County will, and it lists several things that we will do in this contract as well. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that is design, fund, and manage renovation of parking lot?
That's
So
right.
if we sign this in order to get DARPA started, are we not committing ourselves to that $73,000 or $93,000 above that we talked about?
Well, the board had already agreed to that at the August 16th meeting to provide those.
Right, and that was part of the concern that we had even then, was we didn't have a full design. We didn't really know that would cover it. So that's why we've got that money sitting there. Is that correct, Ronnie?
There wasn't a dollar amount presented at that meeting.
Yeah, sure wasn't. It was just an idea.
So, yes, Commissioner Richardson.
I think one of the things missing, notwithstanding I'm supportive of this revision of the DARPA thing, but I think what's missing is I guess we're kind of simple folks. We'd kind of like to have a timeline with events and costs beside them so that we can make comparisons as we go forward.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. I think we're all, happy with this project. We voted several times to support it, but we're at the point now, we just don't know what we're approving.
And, the chairman and I have had some conversation. We feel like that we need to get some clarity out of the college about. I saw a sign today that they're doing some sort of mechanical trails activity, the 25th through the 28th of this month or something. And I'm sitting there wondering, is this part of the plan? Anyhow, we feel like we need more definition about some specificity about what the college is doing on their side.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Powell.
Ronnie, so once again, if we sign this contract, if we give the approval on this contract, then we've committed ourselves to the 73,000 or the 93,000. You say that's already been committed to before.
The numbers in the budget are a starting point. The board can they can scale it back. They can do things differently from the way I projected those numbers. It's a board decision. But in order to, with absolutely no guidance from anyone else, I had to have a starting point. This is the starting point. So it's your decision if you want me to look for a cheaper way to do bathrooms. If you want to make the parking lot smaller, those types of things we can do.
Right,
so
let me let Commissioner Berger interject.
I don't know that it's necessarily making the bathroom smaller, making the parking lot smaller, changing what the parking lot's made of. I think it's more, is that everything? If we approve this, we're not obligated to anything else in the future, and RCC is going to pick up everything else out there. Or are we going to have further presentations of now it's this, now it's this, now it's this, so that at the end of the day, you really don't know what the overall cost is till after you've already spent $250,000, $500,000. So that's my question.
My understanding as of right now, if the board were to approve this tonight, there are no other expenses that I'm aware of, with the exception of who maintains the trails. If we can resolve that between us and the college, there are no other expenses that I know of. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I was asked by, I think, Commissioner Hall, I think you asked me to meet with the PRAB people and bring back a recommendation on prioritized items for future construction.
Right.
Those are completely up to the board if you all want to do those in the future or not. It can be left as the trail, the half-mile trail, the rock garden, and leave it at that and just have ongoing costs.
But all those are future possibilities.
Yes,
It's
sir,
not
they are.
obligations that we have now. Commissioner Berger.
And here's
to what DARPA has committed to and what you all have committed to, there are no other future costs other than the maintenance of the trail. Who pays for that?
And so here's part of my confusion, and this is from the Part F grant language. These natural surface trails will be planned, constructed, maintained, and managed by Duke Energy Trails at RCC as part of the program's educational field experience. So that information came from somewhere or somebody to go into that Part F grant. And that's where now we're being told that, and I'm not saying that this is on you, Ronnie, I'm just saying that the information being provided indicates that we don't know. Well, so that's where the confusion comes in.
Right.
Somebody at some point in time led the county to believe that RCC would do it, and maybe they will. But tonight we're getting, I guess, uncertain information. Right. And I think we want to know what's the plan overall, who's taking care of what. Mm-hmm. and get it nailed down, because I'm almost certain in a prior meeting, we've indicated bring us something back, either through Lance or someone, and it hasn't happened yet. And I don't know if that's on our end, I don't know if it's on RCC's end, but certainly there's a breakdown in getting the resolution. So.
And I agree with you. In the past discussions we've had with RCC, they've been either reluctant or have said they do not want to maintain the trails due to lack of staff. So that's why we're trying to find a way to resolve this.
Hang on, Mr. Manager.
I'd prefer not to vocalize my comments about the situation with the discussions we've had. I mean, I've discussed individually with you all. But for tonight, the goal that we have is to start some sort, it be it just us and Darber right now, starting something out there. But if you guys, and I'm saying this very kindly, if you guys don't want to proceed collectively, then just let us know, because I don't want staff spending a lot of time spinning wheels on this thing. It started out this grandiose plan, this $4 million plan, and a lot of it was way over the edge. So anyway, we just need some sort of direction from you all tonight.
Hang on, Craig. Don, you had something?
I was just going to ask, we were talking about the cost after this one time that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so on this breakdown, I see that there's a yearly cost of $33,820 or $35,510, depending on if you use portable toilet option or with the permanent toilet option.
Yes, sir.
Am I reading that correct?
Yes, sir.
So after we do the initial 73 or 93, then there is a cost of this 33 or 35 that I'm assuming the county will be picking up. Is that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The majority of that is on the maintenance cost for the common areas for the park. And there's some cleaning, depending on if you use a portable toilet or the permanent one, the cleanings of that, and the electrical bills for stone, things like that.
All right, Commissioner Travis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ronnie, I know the county has worked hard on this. I know you and Lance have, but it sounds like to me this started out to be a project for RCC, and it's turning into a project for the county. And it seems like to me RCC's dropped the ball, and if they're not willing to do it, let the thing go. Give it back to Duke Power. If they're not willing to be partners with this from the get-go, I'm not willing to spend $73,000 or $90,000 for a project that they took the lead on to begin with. Simple as that.
Okay.
Commissioner Richardson.
Give it back to Duke Power, and Duke Power can start paying taxes on it.
I might address that in a second, but first off, if we approve this DARPA contract, what will be different tomorrow than it is today?
Are you willing to?
Just your commitment to maintain the park?
At the scale that we've presently set. Okay.
No, we have had conversations with the town manager of Madison, because obviously we don't want to start another department within the county. So we have had discussions with him to see if they could assist us in maintenance if you guys were to approve it. And he thought that wouldn't be a problem. I'd give him some minimal amount per year to help us with that.
That's in addition to
There's going to be a cost eventually.
That's included in this budget.
Is that?
Okay, all right.
Hang on, Mark.
I think we all recognize that this could be a very valuable resource. As a minimum, it's a start, but there's going to be a cost associated with it. And I believe what we're asking, we're just trying to get a firmer grasp on how big that cost is. You know.
That's right. That's what I'm hearing. We don't know. I think, and Commissioner Berger had said it, at one time that RCC was going to help construct and maintain, and now we're going to partner with someone else to maintain it.
That's
So
the
that's
common
just-
areas.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So that's confusing. true.
What do you want to do?
That's a good point.
Kevin, you good with it?
Yeah.
What is it?
I just want to say that I'm not against this. I'm just trying to understand the numbers here. Because if we sign the agreement as I see it in the packet that you put out, then we're committing ourselves to pay that. And if it's already been committed before, then we just need to pony up the money, I guess. But if we sign the agreement tonight, as I read it, then we're putting ourselves on the hook for either the 73 or the 93.
I think that's a good idea.
Those numbers, again, those numbers can be scaled back based on the scope of what the board feels like they want at that park. I can go to a 5-space parking lot, take a lot of that cost out of there. I can go to just sticking 2 porta-johns out there and let them roll, get a night light from Duke Power, temporary utility pole, and we're good to go. And then those numbers drop off dramatically.
Hang on 1 minute. Hang on. Mr. Berger?
What's your time frame at this point? Can we kick this to the next meeting for a decision, have a few discussions?
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting into the season right now where, well, I guess they can still work in hot or cold, but yeah, there's no big deal with that.
The deadline is the end of December of '22, correct? Is that right?
To make what they say significant, and this part that we're talking about right now was significant movement on the part. Yes, we have time.
I think what I think you're suggesting, and Mr. Berger's suggestion, is particularly useful because there was one other aspect that involved a private entity participation.
On that, but I'd prefer not to talk about it at the moment.
I'm getting millions already.
Talk about it, but that would be helpful in this whole discussion.
But that particular one doesn't pertain to this part of the agreement, though.
Outside of the agreement.
Yeah.
But it's part and parcel of the whole package, and we're interested in the whole package now and in the future.
Exactly. Commissioner Travis?
So, Ronnie, we've already agreed to the parking lot. We just ain't determined what size. We've agreed to bathrooms. We just ain't determined right. So do you need a firm figure? Can we say up to a certain amount?
I need somebody to tell me what you want to put out there.
I mean, can this board say we agree?
Do you want it to be temporary and look like it's out in the middle of you-know-where, or do you want it to look nice and be an attractive park for people to come and use? That's the guidance I need, because without that, I don't know how to give you an estimate for it.
What I'm hearing from you, though, is for you to continue negotiations with Darbra and RCC, you need a firm commitment from this board to say we're willing to go 80,000, up to 80,000. Is that something you need, Lance? We're really signing on to. We're just
The agreement, the agreement between us and Darbra doesn't have a dollar figure on it. It's just saying we agree to do these things.
Okay.
That's up to what magnitude? Again, we could kick it down the road.
I'm good with it either way. Either way, I'm good with it. We can always take the funds from somewhere else.
Also, we need to look at it fairly soon because funding may be ARP money.
Yeah, and this whole process has kind of put staff in a somewhat of an awkward position because we're going back and forth with different bodies that we just need clear guidance. We can provide you all with numbers. The number he's going to come back with you with, it's not going to be 73,000. It'll probably be 600,000 or 700,000 because in this $4 million process, there are things you're going to knock off. I mean, you don't need a concrete trail. You can do a variety of different things they've got in there, the width and all this other stuff. But the figure's going to be quite daunting compared to what it is now on the recommendation. I don't want that to be a shocker to anybody. So if you guys either want to proceed with this park or just say, look, we're not interested in proceeding.
Do that or table it.
I say let's make a motion to go ahead and proceed, and we'll figure out the minutia of the rest of it later.
Was that a motion?
Yes, sir.
All right, we do have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that. We got to have something on the table to make the decision.
That's right. You got to have something on the table.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
All right, I hope this one's going to be easier, so.
That being said, the motion carries, but I think I will add a comment to that.
We definitely need some numbers.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We need firm budgets, firm numbers on things. If that means we have to design it to get it, I think that's what the commissioners are looking for, is we got to surround this financially. Am I wrong? Am I right, guys?
I agree, and I agree with you. This has been a hard discussion, but if we get up with some clarity, if we end up at the next session or whenever with some clarity about exactly where we're going, it'll be worth that hard conversation.
It will. All right, that being said, we've had a motion and it is carried. So with that, we'll move on to item number 2, Ronnie. Approval for a contract for water main extension on Newman Road.
A whole lot easier.
Let's hope.
All right, so gentlemen, I've got a request for you to approve Yates Construction as a contractor for the water main extension on Newnum Road for a proposed subdivision at that location. Yates' bid was for $79,797.08. What I'm asking you to approve is a project budget of $87,777 from OSBM funds, and to allow the county manager to approve change orders up to $50,000 as you have in the past on these projects. The difference in the cost is a 10% contingency fee added to
I'm
it.
going to ask you if that's what that was.
Yeah.
Very good, gentlemen. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of item 9.2.
Thank you, Commissioner Richardson and Commissioner Travis. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Very good. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, staff. With that, Mr. Manager, is there any new business?
Yes, sir.
We will go to Commissioner comments then, and with that, we'll resume our normal order. Commissioner Travis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight. Want to let the public know the county's got the litter program up and running. So if you are an organization or a group that is interested in to make a little money by helping keeping the county beautiful, by picking up trash on the side of the road, we need your help. We have people coming to the county all the time. We want to make sure it looks good when they get here. And if you're interested in making a little side money for your organization or group, contact the county. And, I think it's a great program. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Richardson.
Certainly, I endorse Commissioner Travis's comments there, and I hope organizations and individuals take advantage of that. Weather's beginning to change. We're going from heat prostration to a bit cooler, and it's been very pleasant. I would just encourage everybody, as the weather changes and we're spending more time outdoors, be aware of senior citizens and folks that may have demands in light of COVID issues and other health issues. And you may, just as advertised, you may call the Health and Human Services Department of Rockingham County if you have questions about booster shots or anything related to vaccination programs. Thank you, Mr. Chair, or Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes, I want to thank you for coming out tonight, and just tell you that today I had the pleasure of going to the college and looking at some of the improvements that they've made with various sources of money, including the quarter-cent sales tax. And to tell you that I was very impressed with what's going on over there. If you get the chance to go by, get Dr. Kinlaw to show you around, I think you will be too. We're going to have a state-of-the-art facility there, probably breaking ground in the early spring. Now, we're waiting on some of the plans to come back from the state. So it's going to be a great thing for Rockingham County. Certainly workforce development is high on our list of needs in this county. So if you get the chance to go by there, do so and take a look at what some of your tax dollars and other forms is doing over at the college. Thank you.
Okay. We thank y'all for being here tonight. I want to recognize a couple of our elected officials. Doug Isley from the school board is here, And then the sheriff, Sam Page, was here a little bit earlier. I don't know, he may have stepped out. Want to also mention that tonight, you notice we've all got on pink. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so you see a lot of organizations sponsoring things and wearing pink. Everyone knows someone that's been touched by cancer, whether it's breast cancer or some other form. And it certainly is something that really weighs heavily on those that are dealing with it. So if you know someone that is going through it now, whether it's them or a family member or maybe they're a caretaker, just take time to stop in, say hello, and check on them. That really lifts their spirits and gives them a little bit of hope. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, everyone who attended tonight, either in person or via technology. We appreciate you participating in your government. With that, we will say that our next meeting will be at Reedsville City Hall on November 1st at 6:30 at Reedsville City Hall. That's our next published meeting. And with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, folks. We are adjourned.